Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new series we have created called Learning with LeTip. My name is Doug Friedman. We are here at Undefeated Media, and we have a special treat for you. Carl Shoemaker from Action Coach is going to put a little webinar on for us right now, and we're going to learn with LeTip. Today, we are learning about hiring the right employees. So without any further ado, Carl Shoemaker.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy.
I don't know about that. Hello, everybody. Carl Shoemaker. Again, I'm with Action Coach. I'm a business coach. I'm right here in the New Jersey area. But I wanted to talk a little bit about something I keep hearing about a lot. But as a business coach, I work with business owners on a whole host of different issues. But one thing that's come up a lot lately, bearing in mind coming out of this pandemic, we've had a lot of challenges for a lot of small business owners. But small business owners are really struggling at times with hiring great employees, bringing in new teams of people, getting people back in the workforce. And we can tell you about why that is. And there's probably a number of reasons. Part of it has to do perhaps with some people are out of the workforce, and in some regards, the incentives for them not to work are too high to warrant them going back into the workforce. There also may be legitimately some real anxiety, even fear in the minds of some people until we get to the point where people are vaccinated or more people are vaccinated. So I say that because I don't want to be insensitive to the feelings that people have. We also have to worry about the environment we're in. But one of the things that I really want to be clear about, and I want to, my plan here is to take you through what we call at Action Coach the 4-hour recruitment system. Have no fear. I am not going to talk at you for 4 hours. I've actually created a kind of outline, and I want to cover the 4 steps in this recruitment process to help you understand it. I've also got a book recommendation and a couple of website tools that I can point to. I'm not doing this because I have any financial arrangement with any of these people. They're just tools that I use or that some of my clients have used. So I'll suggest them to you that you can look them up and learn more about them. And if anything resonates with you as you're listening to this live or in a recording later on, feel free to reach out to me. Connect up with me. We'll put up my contact information later on. There's some templates that I'll be happy to share with you that might be very helpful for you. All right, so that's kind of like why I want to go about doing this. And I thought one of the things that would be really helpful if business owners understood, and you can do a little self-reflection and you can decide if this kind of resonates with you too. Do you find yourself going out to look for employees only when you have an opening? If you do, that's what puts you in that roller coaster of recruiting and not recruiting. The old thing about selling and salespeople is they would always be closing, right? ABC, always be closing. For business owners building key teams of employees, I think you should always be looking, right? Always be looking. Here's another one. Just contemplate for a couple of minutes. What are you trying to build in your business? How much growth do you want to do? And are you building a business that you plan to sell, right? At some point, you're going to exit that business one way or the other. Do you want that business to continue on after you decide you don't want to go in and do it every day? Then you need to plan for that. And I can tell you this, a business that you're going to sell is much more appealing to somebody who wants to buy it if it's not dependent on you as the owner to be the primary rainmaker or sales guy, right? Who wants to buy a business where they have to essentially replace you and work like a maniac for 60 or 70 hours a week, where everything is dependent upon you doing it, right? So there's a point at which a business owner can reach their level where they can't put in any more hours. So what they really need to do is to develop a solid team around them, and that team can help drive the business. Got a really key focal point. We like to have people look at it. Business owners a lot of times try to take care of everything. They try to take care of the customers. They try to take care of their team. They try to take care of the business. They try to do everything for all people, right? What they really should do is focus all their efforts on building a great team. Get the team trained up, empowered, and ready to take on, right, caring for all their customers, delegating everything to the team so they can take care of the customers. If they do that, the customers will support the business will support the owner. And the owner's focus is much more as, instead of being the kind of rainmaker, that kind of sole salesperson, that leading key guy who does everything, becomes much more, if you will, the coach, the leader, the manager, the trainer, kind of the architect of the sales process and the team. And putting yourself in that position to help grow your business makes it potential to grow your business to be even larger than you could do if you're the sole focus, right? Because you become the bottleneck in the funnel, if that's the case. The growth potential for your business is much better. All right, so that's why it's a very important reason, not just for your own time management, not just for your own freedom in terms of hours, but in terms of the value of your business. It makes you more focused on the growth of the business value, the valuation of your business, than it is just on revenue. Okay, hope that makes sense. So if you have questions about this, please feel free to, plug them in. Let me know. We'll try to cover them. So I want to go through a few things, and I'll mention a few different areas, and I'll kind of go through an outline of our 4-step recruiting process. All right. So again, as I said, don't wait until you've got an opening that you desperately need to fill before you're starting to get the process in place to organize it. I'm going to take you through the Action Coach 4-hour recruiting system, and I'm going to just outline it. Again, we don't have enough time to go through every little detail of it. If you're out there somewhere else in the world and you're hearing this, look around, because I bet you'll find yourself an Action Coach somewhere near you who can help you. And if you just want some templates, some more information, feel free to contact me. I'll provide you whatever I can. So here are a couple of tools that I use. I recommend to a lot of my clients that they use a company called Hiring Steps. HiringSteps.com. You can go check them out. Go on the website, find them. They've essentially automated the recruiting process that I'm going to be describing to you. Now, they're kind of like the kayak for recruiting. It kind of create a dashboard where you're able to get help and guidance, create your job descriptions, create your ads, decide what job boards you want to put this on. In fact, probably put it on as many different job boards as you want. They're also really good at providing recommendations for people as to what job boards to use depending on what different position you're trying to hire. And they can give you also a lot of insight into things like, what are people paying for those jobs? How are people getting employees for those jobs? What job boards are they using to fill a particular type of job? Because if you're going out there trying to find the best of the best employees and you're not offering enough money to get them, guess what? They're not coming to you, right? They'll go somewhere where they can make the money that they need to make, okay? So that's Hiring Steps, HiringSteps.com, and I'll put up some information later on about a contact information. There's a guy named Danny Ng, Danny@HiringSteps.com, and he's been super helpful for me and for some of my clients in using the system and getting on board with it. There's another resource, and I'll probably mention it again too, but I want to let you know, here's a book for you to read. Actually, it's much more than just a book. The book is called Who. The author is Jeff Smart, S-M-A-R-T, Jeff Smart. It's got so much more than just that, right? I can't give you the information in the books, but guess what? Go out there, Google Jeff Smart, go on their website, they'll let you register, and they'll give you access to a whole lot of templates, tools and guides for a lot of the things. And I'm going to talk about some of them later on, kind of in a generic term, but to get the actual tools to use, go out there, check them out. Jeff Smart. And the book to read, well, he's got a bunch of books, but Who is really helpful. I recommend it to clients, and read it because it really helps put this stuff into real good context and gives you a lot of great guidance. All right. So those are some of the recommendations, some of the things that I think you could think about doing. And I want to kind of take you through the process and kind of, again, these are some of the things I'm going to talk about. So the 4-hour recruiting system, the 4 steps, if you will. The first one, you got to attract a bigger pool of applicants. And it seems obvious, but to a lot of people, it's not, because they tend to want to just get a position filled, right? They just want to hire somebody. Think about how important it is as a decision to bring employees into your firm. Do they fit into your culture? Do they have the skills and the tools they need to do the job? You might have to teach them a lot of things, and you can be prepared for that. But if they don't fit your culture, if they don't have the right work ethic, then you're probably wasting your time teaching them what they need to do, right? So there's the first level. Get a bigger pool of applicants. Choose from a bigger pool so you have a better shot at getting a higher percentage that you'll be successful in this. Number 2, implement layers of screening, levels of screening. If you're a business owner and you're really, really busy, right, don't fall into the trap of, well, I just don't want to get a bigger pool of applicants. I'll have to interview everybody, and it just takes too much time. Implement levels of screening, right? Have somebody on the team screen that bigger pool of applicants. So if you find out in that bigger pool, just to use a number, if it's 100 people, you won't have time to talk to 100 people, but you don't need to. You want to screen down to the ones that are best ones for you to talk to. All right, we're going to take through that process. Get somebody on your team. There are even automated ways to do this, where you can use a voicemail system and have people call in and answer questions. Again, something that Hiring Steps can help you with. Make really sure that your job applicants can do the things you really need them to do. How do you make sure you do that? Well, the first part of all that, before you're even placing an ad, you're going to create a job description. And that job description is going to list those essentials, right? And then you're going to use an assessment for that really short list of tools, including a much, much better, more robust list of questions. So we're going to get into some of this now. Again, it's a lot of information to capture, but if you stop and think about it, if you're a business owner and you've got a team of people, if they're not the best people you could possibly find, and they're not giving good feedback, and they're not performing well for you, right, then what is your life going to be like, right? On the other hand, if they were so unhappy with where the situation they found themselves in, and they got up and all left tomorrow, what situation would you find yourself in? So it's really hard to overestimate how important your team is to the performance of your business. And if you ever contemplated selling your business, being finished with your business, taking your cash out of the business, finding out what to do, how to move on, next thing in your life, well, you need to contemplate that too. All right, because people who want to sell a business or people who want to buy a business, if they think they're going to have to replace somebody who's already putting in 70 hours a week, it makes the business less attractive. If they're buying a business that depends on the owner to do everything, it makes a business less attractive. Okay, I hope all those things make sense. So let's get into some of these steps here. And again, at a kind of a higher level, but number 1, job leads. If you're going to create leads, you start out with a great job description. Really define the roles and responsibilities. I cannot tell you how many times in working with clients, I talk to them about some of their key employees and I find out things like, do they have a job description? Oh, well, I think they do, but I don't remember. Well, okay, well, let's revisit this. And the job description the employee creates and the job description the owner has in mind, if you compare the two, they don't match up at all. They have no relationship to one another. So it means their role and responsibility is not defined either in the owner's mind or the employee's mind. And if they're not on the same page, how are they possibly going to get maximum productivity, right? Make sure you know what skills they need to have. Make sure that they know what to expect in terms of the hours. What's my schedule? When am I supposed to work? How much do you demand of me? What's the pay rate? What's the range, right? I'm not suggesting that you, well, I'll tell you this for sure. To get the best people, you need to pay them. So if you go into this with the idea that I'm going to bring somebody on and I'm going to pay them a lower rate of pay and let them prove to me how good they are, you're really setting yourself up. You want to get the best people, but you want to set an expectation and give them feedback on how they're doing, right? Those things are really important. From that job description, guess what? It's a whole lot easier to create an ad to find the people you want to find. Right? Without that, you're missing key attributes of what you're looking for. You may not get the person you're looking to hire. Right? Now, getting a bigger pool of applicants, right? What lead sources are you going to use? Well, all of them, right? Depending. But more than you typically do. The days of just, I'll put an ad in the local newspaper and I'll get people are kind of gone. All right. So depending on what you're trying to hire, you've got to put the thing out there. This is again why I like and recommend to use hiring steps, because it gives you the ability to do a lot of different things. Take the job description, create an ad, put it out there, and put it on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster, but also Craigslist if you want. There are free boards, there are paid boards. You can put it on a bunch of them and all the data comes back to you in one place. But that's not enough, right? And that's not all. You should leave no stone unturned. That's one of my mottos. Leave no stone unturned. You should talk to your network, right? You should talk to the people you know. You should talk to friends and family. Do you know anybody? You know anybody who's really looking for a job? Do you know anybody so we can help grow our own? Right? How do we get people employed again? This is one of the things I'd really love to see happen, especially in my little corner of New Jersey here. I want people to get back into the workforce and get working again. So leave no stone unturned. Put that out everywhere you can. Don't forget your friends and family and your network, people you network with. Guess what? If you network, join a LeTip chapter, it's a place to be telling people, hey, you guys have any family members, right, that need jobs? Here's a job description. Right? And also, I think it's kind of crazy to go out and say, gee, I need somebody to work for me without being able to tell them exactly what the job is all about and what range of pay you're planning to give that job. A job is a contract, right? It's an agreement. I agree to pay you this much. You agree to do this much work. Put those things together. If you don't, we have a mismatch, right? So we want to match that up. That's how you're creating new, bigger pools of people to talk to. They may not all be a great fit, but you're getting a bigger pool to start with. All right. Okay. So second hour, step 2, if you will. You got to create an initial screening process. So there are lots of ways to do this initial screening process. To get these employees and hire them, you've got this bigger pool of people. If you get 40 or 50 applicants, resumes coming into you, you need a way to screen them. Have somebody on your team. You can use an automated phone system. Hiring Steps does that for you too. You can have them call in, go through a list of questions, and you get the information back from them. That can help you whittle that list down, right? So if you started out with 50, you now get down to a more approachable kind of list of 10 or so. What are you trying to find out in this screening process? Do they have the skills? They have everything that's necessary. They have more than you expected, right? Just what you expected. Maybe they're missing a few things, but they're close. Or whoa, they just don't meet the minimum requirements at all. They won't be a good fit on our team. Okay? That helps you develop a short list. So again, you can use an automated system. You can use your own people screen it down. This is another place where, again, if you read Jeff Smart's book or look at some of his templates on his website, a lot of great tools there, okay, where you can use some templates and you can have people on the team interviewing. Again, as a business coach, when I work with clients, and this is a topic for another day, right? It's, what does the organizational chart look like? Who are these people reporting to? What's their role going to be? These things are all important, and those are the people on your team who can help you continue to build and train your team, okay? Again, for maximum growth of your business, these are all critical components. Okay, step 3, the third hour, if you will. You got to figure out, now that I've got this list of people and I've narrowed it down, what am I going to do? Is it an on-site interview? Pandemic coming to an end, we all hope. Can we get back to on-site interviews? Who's going to interview? If I'm hiring a bunch of people, and I've done this in some of my past lives, we've done group interviews, brought people in a group and hired them. Some really neat things you want to do, though, in your screening process. It's a great idea. Identify the key responsibilities, maybe 3, the most important things. Get everybody who's doing this interviewing, if you're doing it in a group or if you're doing it on your own individually, ask the same questions of everybody. So everybody can use a scoring sheet that, because they've asked the same questions, if you then sit down and compare notes, guess what? You've got answers to the same questions. That sounds obvious, but I can tell you this, it's been my experience that business owners will do this in kind of a random ad hoc kind of basis, and they won't have asked the same questions of prospects. Therefore, they have a very difficult time comparing to help them decide, is this the best fit, almost the best fit, kind of marginal, or not even acceptable, right? Because you're really getting down to the point where you're trying to really discern who's the best fit. Maybe you're hiring several people, but who are the top candidates for these jobs? So you want to ask for those real essentials, and then you want to do some kind of a debrief. And if it's possible, depending on where you are, give people some kind of trial period. Give them, tell them when they're starting, how long that initial trial period is going to be, if it's appropriate. It's not always, it depends on your location and local laws, and we're not going to get into all of that right now. But including some of your existing team in review of the process of hiring. If they're going to be working together, it's a good idea to make it be a good fit, right? Another thing, another reason why I ask people to always be looking for new employees. I've had many cases once we start getting people to do a real thorough screening and a thorough investigation, they start bringing in some people from a bigger pool. They find that some of the people they're hiring now are actually better performers by far than the people they already have on the team, right? So you can improve the performance of your organization just by having new players come in board that have gone through a better screening process, right? All rising tide lifts all boats, okay? So include your team members to make sure the fit is really a good one. The last process, you now got down to a short list, right? You got down from the original pool of applicants through the screening, the first interview, now you've got down to the real candidates that you want to talk to at the end. Ask the right kind of questions. Again, ask open-ended questions. There's some questions that I really love, and again, I recommend you read the book, Who, by Jeff Smart, and look at some of the templates on his website. It can help you a lot. You're asking everybody these key open-ended questions, and I love questions like, where do you see yourself in 3 years, right? What do you want to be doing next year, right? What are your plans? There are questions, of course, you can ask and questions you can't ask, but you want to asking people, are they really interested in working for you? Now, is the place you have a really great place to work or not, right? But asking those questions is a great way to find out if people are going to be a good fit. It's also good if you're involving multiple players in the team, as I said before, to ask the same questions so you can create a simple grid to see how you rank the different answers that they give, right, to those same questions. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's actually, there are no shortcuts for the shortcuts. It's so important to get good people. When you're hiring people, you want people who are really eager to work. They're not going to be watching the clock, waiting for time to go. They're going to be looking for how they can add value to your team and perform well in your organization, right? We also do, and this really comes in play for me when I have clients who are really trying to zero in on hiring a great key position, and especially when they've got a couple, 2, 3 candidates that they are really hard pressed to kind of differentiate, right? That, man, I wish I could hire all of these people, but they probably can't. And they need to figure out which one's the best fit, right? Remember, the best fit is all of those things, like the experience and their skills and their work ethic, and can they meet at least the minimum requirements? But the other thing is, can they fit in the culture, right? Do they have the right behavioral style to fit in the culture? So we like to recommend use some type of HR assessment. Use that to help figure out how you're going to communicate best with them. I love to use DISC. It's a tool that if you use it, it creates so much information for you, especially for key employees, that you use it for development on an ongoing basis for people, all right? You do all these things, now you're down to the point of negotiating. If you have an HR department, you've got a job offer, an agreement, depending on where you are, an agreement is typically enough. An employment agreement is, I think, absolutely essential. We have a template that we provide. It's just a generic template, but then you can customize the template to use. If you contact me, I'm happy to send you the one that I provide to clients. Of course, if you have an HR department, you probably have your own. You have a legal department or legal requirements to go through, then of course use that, right? But if you're in that, not in that position, but negotiate that and bring people on board with that agreement in place, okay? Now, that's how you've got through the process, right? Of taking a bigger pool of applicants and screening it in a way that's more easy for you, and getting down to an interview process that's kind of consistent and enables you to compare one to another, and then going through a hiring process. And I know I've gone through this quickly, but it is something that I spend a pretty fair amount of time when I'm teaching a client how to do this whole process. It's really, really important to have the best people you possibly can have on your team. But now you've selected them. That's probably half the game. You've got to bring them on board. You got to make sure that they get acclimated. Remember, when they first join you, they don't know how to get a cup of coffee. They don't know anything about your organization. So you got to bring them in. You got to make sure they fit. And one of the key things you're going to have to do, whether you do it yourself or your team does it, is they're going to have to get feedback. The best kind of feedback in the world to give somebody is positive feedback. The next best kind of feedback to give somebody is negative feedback. At least you're telling them what you don't like. The worst kind of feedback at all is no feedback. And all too often, I find that business owners just aren't set up to give people feedback to help them improve. If they're deficient in things that they're doing for you and you let it go, it's on you, right? They need to know what they're doing, what's going well, what's not going well. They need to improve how they're doing. And the only way they're going to do that is if you give them feedback on what they're doing. So that's kind of an outline of the process. And I guess the best thing I can say to do, I'll put this, I don't know if you can put this up now. There's a way to contact me. We'll put that on the screen. And I'll be more than happy to provide some information if you reach out to me via phone or via email. But I think these are the kind of things that are really a key to hiring the right people, getting them on board, learning how to do it right, do it better than you're doing it now. I think those things are really critical because we've got to get people back to work in this country, and we've got to get the small business engine that really helps drive this country forward back engaged. And I think the growth could be explosive from here. So you don't want to be the last in line to get good people. All right, let's put some effort into doing it. Action Coach, our vision is world abundance through business re-education. I hope you find some of these tips really helpful in learning how to do this even better than you've done it before. So good luck. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to try to answer them. Thank you very much. Awesome. Thanks, Doug.
Nice job, Carl. So thank you. You don't have to run away too far.
Well, I'm trying to get out of it.
You don't have to run away too far. Thank you for doing our first ever Learning with LeTip. It's a little online seminar, webinar, whatever you want to call it. But we're learning stuff here with LeTip. So thank you for guys for being part of that. If you want a deeper dive and you want to get one-on-one time or a group session time with Carl, put your email in the comment section or message me on Facebook, and we could set that up. We can have a more intimate webinar where you can ask questions to Carl, and we can get you guys together. But thank you guys for watching our first ever Learning with LeTip webinar, and we'll see you on the next one. What's up, bro?